Nithyanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. That felt good.
Nithyananda, everybody.
Nithyanandam.
We're back after I think a year, actually.
Yeah, close
Almost.
to it at least. We started one podcast when we were in Biddi, India together, and then a lot has happened since then, and then here we are in Los Angeles, California.
Ready to get started again.
For episode 2. For the long-awaited episode 2.
But I swear the delay will not be like this for the rest of the episodes to come. We're going to be much more stable and current with our podcast now. But quick introduction, if you are not familiar with us yet. My name is Prasiddha. My full name is Ma Nithya Prasiddhananda. And I am a Nithyananda Yoga Acharya and a devotee, a disciple of Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam. I have been studying yoga and Sanatana Dharma, the Vedic sciences, under what we call him as Swamiji for the last 4 years now, a little over 4 years, and Dridha has been about 5 years since he's been studying. You want to introduce yourself quickly?
Yes, my name is Sri Nithya Dridhananda, Dridha for short, and I'm also, an ordained Nithyananda Yoga Acharya. Prasiddha and I, we spent the past 2 years living in India together, being directly trained in the path of authentic yoga under our guru Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, and what an amazing journey that's been. And
what we learned was truly life-changing, and I think that's really our goal with this podcast. If you're wondering, what is this podcast exactly, I think that's definitely our goal, is everything that was so enlightening to us, all the knowledge that we have been receiving and downloading for the last years, studying directly as part of this yogic lineage, an authentic tradition of yoga, and passing that to you guys, the listener, and also sharing our journeys along the way and really sharing our personal lives with you guys as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of you guys might know us as our YouTube channels, which is the Blissful Athlete and the Kundalini Yogini. And so we really wanted to make this as a platform where we can share together.
Yeah.
Where we can share me and Dridha as husband and wife, and also partners in this yogic journey.
Yeah, we've like you said, we've seen so much, we've learned so much from Swamiji over such a short period of time as well. But with any enlightened master, especially with our guru, the intensity of the lifestyle and the amount of downloads that you get just by being in his presence is absolutely incredible. And of course, one of his key components of his mission is to, now that yoga has been spread throughout North America, spread throughout the world, now it's popular, but now it's time to authenticate it and get it back to its roots, because so many people are practicing yoga, but they're not practicing yoga.
Yeah.
And so that's really going to be one thing that we're going to be focusing on here.
It's a big journey of education, really. That's all, and it's usually obviously not out of a bad intention. That people don't really understand this science of yoga and the source of it, and it's really essential because, and we won't go too much into this, we don't like to focus on this side of it as much because it is a little energy draining and, more negative, so to speak. But it is cultural appropriation, most of the yoga that's happening right now. It's a major appropriation of Hinduism, of the Sanatana Dharma sciences, of Vedic sciences and Vedic knowledge, and a lack of acknowledgement, ultimately, of those sciences. And it's just so wrong to just take little bits and pieces of it and profit off of it, and that's really what's happening in the West. And so we just want to be voices, hopefully of reason within the industry, to bring everybody's awareness back to acknowledging and recognizing where these practices come from. And it's okay that, you know, people from all walks of life are practicing it. That is amazing. That's great. Mm-hmm. But let's also come back to the roots. Let's acknowledge, let's respect. And then from there, we're going to get so much more from the science, because it is the science of enlightenment. And it's very minute and particular, just like, I always use this analogy, but I feel like it's so perfect, chemistry. You can't change the equation for water. It will make a different element, right? And the same way yoga is. It's extremely detailed and scientific, as in anything you add into the equation does change the result. And things like substances, especially alcohol, drugs, different foods, different techniques, which were not a part of the original science, they do change the results of your practice, right? And so we want everybody to have that awareness also, so they can get the most benefit and not get bad benefit. I mean, I shouldn't say bad benefit, but like bad repercussions and consequences of mispractice and misuse. So anyways, we're going to be kind of sharing about that throughout our podcast, right?
Yeah. Do we want to just dive into that still right now? Like,
sure, we can take it anyway.
I want to kind of go with that flow, because the one thing that I wanted to add is the importance of the guru-disciple relationship in yoga. And that's really what makes us authorities, is that it's not us that's claiming these things. It's the fact that we've been trained directly under an enlightened being that is saying, this is how I became enlightened. It's this science that I'm now showing you. You need to live it and experience yoga this way. And not only was this his experience of enlightenment, but he's saying, I've learned this from these scriptures, from these enlightened sages.
And my gurus, ultimately, his gurus.
His guru. And those sages and those enlightened beings are saying that they learned this from Shiva, from the Upanishads.
Directly from Shiva himself.
And one of those beings was Patanjali as well. Patanjali, not being the founder or the father of yoga, he was also a disciple of Paramashiva.
Yeah, he organized a system for humanity at that time. He made a system pertinent for human beings when he wrote it. But those don't necessarily map to today. And it's not to say they're wrong, but there's also a, how can you say it, more direct way to experience the yogic tradition than Ashtanga yoga, although it has a beautiful context as well. Definitely no attack against them, but there's also a more, efficient path to experiencing yogic powers, yogic awakening. The stages of enlightenment, the experiences of satori or samadhi that we experience.
If you don't have time to go and search for all of these scriptures and read all of the text, which is a lot, to read the entire Yoga Sutras is really, it's a lifetime of study. But if you're wanting to learn some of these pramanas, some of the important scriptural references specifically on yoga, then our guru has put together an incredible
compilation of those references, which is super useful. So definitely we'll give you guys that link.
I call it the Bible for a yoga. I don't want to call it the Bible, but it's like a Bible for yogis, which is, if you're wanting to take your yoga practice to the next level and you want to know what authentic yoga really is, this is like your starter book to learn and to understand a lot of these texts. And so the link will be in the description here. It's the 1008 pramanas, so like 1008 scriptural references from the source, so from the source of yoga itself. And
about pranayama, kriyas, which are cleansing techniques, about mantras, mudras, asana, which are the postures, right? So all these different components of yoga is there, which is really cool. You can see actual legitimate source in Sanskrit. That's what, just so you know, that's like your golden buzzer. You should always see the Sanskrit, so you know that what you're reading is legitimately from the source. If it's not in Sanskrit, that's it. That's not the all the way back to the source yet.
Yeah.
Of course, we have to read translation. We're not fluent in Sanskrit either, but.
And proper translation as well.
Another
That's
issue.
the thing. Proper, it's actually not even called Sanskrit. It's Samskritam. but we call it Sanskrit everywhere in the world, right? That's what you understand it as. If somebody said Sanskritam, you're not going to know what the heck they're talking about, probably.
Yeah.
But the translation of how to pronounce it, the phonetics of the language, as well as the actual meanings of the words. And one of the most important things, and when it comes to translation, especially something as like the Patanjali Sutras, an enlightened being needs to translate these sutras. When Patanjali is speaking, he's speaking in a way that an enlightened being could only truly grasp and understand what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. And that's why these translations are, one, so incredible, the ones that we have, and two, it's so important that you're not just grabbing any textbook off of the shelf when you don't know who that author is. And no offense, even if they say doctor in front of it, it does not mean that it's an authentic translation. Unless that doctor's enlightened, then you should really look at that translation as well. But anyways, that was my tangent for the day. But the link you can download will be in the description here. And so with that, it's kind of questioning what's the future of yoga? Where is yoga going, even in the Western world? And it's clear that it's moving more and more towards an authentic, real yoga experience. And that is really what, like we said, this channel is about, and what our guru is really the spearhead of this movement, aligning everything back to the original source. And that's exactly what Nithyananda Yoga is. It's the eternal yoga. It's the original yoga. It's not adding in this old new spice that Swamiji's come up with. It's just the yoga from the source.
It's just like straight as it is. Yeah. And I think that basically what we mean by like, where's yoga going, and what does it mean that it's going back to authenticity, is that I see, and I've seen, and both of us have seen here in LA, what's really happening, which has been cool within the yoga and spiritual community here, and that is that people are really seeking spiritual yoga. What I mean by that is like, I see a lot of people now moving away from just like a core power yoga or a gym yoga that's just for physical, and naturally they're gravitating towards studios that are, even though they're not fully getting the authenticity yet, they're still like incorporating the spiritual aspect, right? So they might incorporate pranayama, breathing techniques. They might talk about connecting to your inner self or to, consciousness, and they bring you back into the spiritual experience of yoga. And it may not be, the complete experience for sure, but I loved that I've been seeing that's where people are going. So I know that seeking is there in everybody, that seeking is getting awakened to like find something more. People aren't getting satisfied with just like core power yoga. They're not. There's definitely going to be people that are, but not the ones watching or listening to this podcast, that's for sure. So it's cool to see that it is happening. It's in the works, and I'm so excited to see what our guru Swamiji creates over here too, in terms of authentic yoga and studios available and classes available. Right now there's even like free Zoom sessions online. If anybody's interested, we can put the link for those as well in the description. But yeah, it's cool to see the movement happening, that people are seeking consciousness. And I think the last thing I wanted to add as we close this is a really cool story I had happen the other day. So I've heard my guru say this many, many times, but I have not heard it said so much in the West. And so I wanted to share. This was a cool experience. So some of you guys might know I've been in school for Ayurveda, studying Indian traditional medicine, the science of life, in Sanskrit. So I'm studying here, and in my class, one of our teachers, the other day we were talking about yoga, because yoga is slightly a part of Ayurveda. It's not like the whole science of yoga, but it's incorporated into the healing modalities of Ayurveda naturally, right? Because it heals the physical body, mental, and the consciousness also. So anyway, he was introducing yoga for all the new, everyone in the class. We have 75 people, a lot of them from different walks of life, different, backgrounds and religions. And he was saying, like, there's all these practices being shown as yoga, this yoga, that yoga, all these things, like all these different types of practices, right? Goat yoga, all these weird things that are happening to yoga. But he said, there's only one yoga. And everybody in my class started applauding. This has never happened in any of my classes for the last 4 months. And everyone in the class started clapping and cheering. And I was just like, this is so cool, because don't often hear people say that, from that understanding that, like, there's only one yoga. He said there's only one yoga. You can call your exercises whatever you want, but you cannot call them as yoga. There is only one yoga. And that's so true.
Yeah.
So true. I was so pumped when I heard that. But the cooler thing was seeing how everybody else resonated with it in the class. And I was like, dang, these guys get it. This is so awesome to see. And it was just like the coolest moment.
We're here. We're here.
It's so cool. So I'm just so excited that it's happening. People are understanding that there really is only one yoga, and that, you know, the appropriation of it should stop happening and be called other things, but that it's so cool to see people are coming back to its source, which is that yoga is fundamentally based in two things, which you guys should understand. And you can tell this to somebody if they're wondering what yoga is and why it matters, what we call yoga. Yoga in itself is based in two truths. One, that there is a collective and cosmic consciousness, a cosmic intelligence, independent intelligence, which runs this entire universe. So you have to acknowledge that. Whatever name you want to call it by is different, but acknowledging that cosmic consciousness exists and is ruling what we experience as life. And two, that you are an Atman, Jiva, the individualization of that cosmic consciousness. You are, you're one fraction of that cosmic consciousness. Each and every one of us, each and every living being is an individualization of that consciousness. And that consciousness, our individualization, is seeking to reunite with its source.
The Brahman.
That's all. So if those two things are requirements to practice yoga, because they are what yoga is.
And then I'd just like to add that the scriptural texts that say all of this, and now science is beginning to understand and agree with, yes, consciousness is everywhere, etc. But in the original Yoga Sutras, Paramashiva is saying that with those two things now existing, the being that helps you transition that state of consciousness is the guru. Mm-hmm. And the guru, yes, you don't need to have a guru as per Sanatana Hindu Dharma, correct?
Yeah. Not
necessary, but in the path of yoga, Paramashiva is saying Guru is God. They are the key for you to get out for the Atma to reach the Brahman space. And so with that understanding, if you're practicing yoga or you want to practice real yoga, you should have a guru who is awakening your Kundalini, who is bringing you to higher states of consciousness, who is giving you the experience. If your guru hasn't given you an experience yet, then that's when you should be questioning the guru. Mm-hmm. Only if you're not getting that experience. Yeah. But you should continuously seek out guidance in the form of an enlightened master, of a guru. Mm-hmm. And that is what Nithyananda Yoga is. It is the original yoga for us, the Atman, to unite with the Brahman, and our guide is our guru, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam. Yeah. Find your guru if you want to practice authentic yoga.
Yes. Exactly. So I guess we'll leave it at that, guys. And it's been so awesome to restart this, reintegrate into our podcast. We're going to definitely be keeping it up and connecting with you guys here. And make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon so you get notifications on YouTube for our videos and podcasts, which will be in video form if you guys are watching this on YouTube right now. And also subscribe to our podcast as well.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get better at this too. This is our second episode. I know at first, if you're watching this on YouTube, my head was like down. I'm like, oh yeah, we're doing this for YouTube. We're doing this for you too, YouTube. But yes, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in, and we look forward to sharing some more content in the future.
Thank you, guys. Nithyananda. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Satguru Paruka Paramastu. Om Nithyanandam.